Hello and welcome back to Front Page. And before we start with the headlines, here's something that you don't want to miss. Cypher 2026 is back and it is bigger than ever. It is happening in KTP of Bengaluru and in October of 2026. The early bird passes are soon expiring, so grab them before they are gone. And here are the headlines. Moonshot AI launches Kimi K3, a 2.8 trillion parameter open weight model that rivals top-tier US systems like Claude Fable 5 and GPT 5.6 in complex coding and deep reasoning benchmarks. UP CM Yogi Adityanath has ordered a roadmap for robotics, AI, quantum computing and semiconductors anchored by a manufacturing park in Noida, alongside two new deep tech hubs in Noida and Lucknow. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman took to X to admit that the company's past year fell short of its own standards, taking personal responsibility and promising the year ahead will be OpenAI's most transformative one yet. RemoteStar Founder Naresh Harwani, the viral cool CEO, explores how artificial intelligence disrupted teams and global talent are fundamentally changing traditional hiring models and reshaping modern workplace leadership and design. Tata Consulting Engineers MD and CEO Amit Sharma discusses India's ambitious industrial transition, the strategic shift towards private nuclear energy, and how Bharat Small Reactors will fuel next-generation advanced manufacturing. The narrative war in AI just shifted gears. Silicon Valley wants you locked in. Walled gardens, paid API calls. Beijing's Moonshot AI is playing a completely different game. They just dropped Kimi K3. It is open, it is massive, and it is gunning for the absolute bleeding edge. We are talking 2.8 trillion parameters, the world's first open 3T class behemoth. You get a 1 million token context window right out of the gate. That is like uploading the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy twice and still having room for director's commentary. Brute force is out. Efficiency is the new currency. K3 uses a mixture of experts architecture. 896 experts live inside this model. But here is the trick. It only wakes up 16 experts per token. Moonshot calls it the stable latent MOE framework. It is lean, it is extremely fast. They built it on custom architecture. Kimi delta attention, attention residuals, KDA and attention res for the nerds keeping score. The result? It scales 2.5 times better than its predecessor, Kimi K2. Oh, and it sees natively. Vision is baked right in. Now for the scoreboard. Moonshot is playing the honesty card. It is a powerful PR weapon. They admit they are trailing the absolute apex predators. OpenAI's GPT 5.6 Sol, Anthropic's Claude Fable 5, those proprietary titans still hold the crown. But K3 is nipping at their heels. It outright beats GPT 5.5. It crushes Anthropic's Opus 4.8. OpenWeight's just body slammed yesterday's proprietary champions. The gap is closing and it is happening fast. What does this actually mean for you? If you code, pay attention. K3 sits through long engineering sessions. It navigates massive code repositories. It uses terminal tools. It basically babysits itself. Internal demons are wild. It built a Triton-like GPU compiler from scratch. It spun up browser-based 3D games. It even played astrophysicist. It reviewed over 20 research papers and spat out 3,000 lines of Python to reproduce calculations. Enterprise users get new toys too. Kimi Work now features widgets. These are interactive components generated right inside your chats. You drop them into the new dashboard, boom! You have persistent workspaces plugged directly into your local data and external plugins. Right now, Kimi K3 is locked in maximum thinking mode by default. Lower effort, faster reasoning modes are slated for future updates. But you can test the heavy hitter today. Hit kimi.com, spin up Kimi Work, Kimi Code, or the API. For the builders wanting the raw power on their own servers, mark your calendars. The full model weight drops July 27th, 2026. The open community is about to get a 2.8 trillion parameter weapon. Silicon Valley should be sweating. Let us know what you think in the comments below. This is Front Page by AIM Network. Like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, think AI, think AIM. Uttar Pradesh wants to be India's next deep tech capital, and it is putting a very specific address on that ambition: Noida. If stories like these are your window into the future of innovation, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Now, let's unravel more. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has directed officials to build out a full roadmap covering robotics, AI, quantum computing, and semiconductors. At the center of this project is something called Pragati. Pragati stands for Park for Robotics, Artificial Intelligence, GPU clusters, and Advanced Technical Innovation. The project is exactly as ambitious as that name suggests. It's a 75-acre integrated robotics and advanced manufacturing cluster planned for Noida, which the state is calling India's first facility of its kind. The plan includes a robotics testing and certification center, rapid prototyping and manufacturing lines, AI compute infrastructure, GPU clusters, a motion capture lab, a physical AI data center, and startup incubation space. All of this under one roof, alongside global manufacturers, component suppliers, and R&D centers. The state didn't pick Noida randomly. It already has a strong electronics manufacturing base, which sits close to the upcoming Noida International Airport in Jewar. It also lies along both the dedicated freight corridor and the defense industrial corridor. The government's own projections are over 1 lakh direct and indirect jobs, and more than 2,000 crores in gross value addition over the next 5 years. Alongside Pragati, UP is building 2 U-hubs, one in Noida, one in Lucknow. It is backed by a 100 crore allocation in 2026 to 2027 state budget. They're designed to bring research institutions, startups, industries, and investors into one single platform. The Noida hub will focus on quantum computing, semiconductor design, physical AI, robotics, and defense tech. Lucknow's will specialize in applied AI, government tech, healthcare AI, and agri-biotech. An expert committee chaired by the director of IIT Kanpur designed how these hubs will actually operate after studying leading deep tech ecosystems around the world. Now, none of this works without skilled people, and Adityanath knows it. He has called for large-scale training in AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, cloud computing, semiconductors, and data science with certification programs built jointly by universities and industries. The state is also rewriting its IT policy to be more investor-friendly and pushing tech growth beyond Noida and Ghaziabad into Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Now, here's the front page take. UP isn't alone in this chase. Karnataka, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, and Maharashtra are all racing to brand themselves as India's AI and deep tech capital, with their own parks, policies, and incentives. What sets UP's pitch apart is the scale and the geography. UP is betting that its industrial base near Delhi, an upcoming international airport, and available land can outcompete states with a longer tech pedigree. India has seen plenty of ambitious tech parks announced on paper that took years longer than promised or never fully filed up. A 75-acre park and a 100 crore hub allocation are a serious opening bid, but still not a finished product. So here's the question. Can Uttar Pradesh's industrial and logistic advantage actually turn into real AI and robotics hub, or does this stay a roadmap for a while yet? Let us know what you think in the comments below. This is Front Page by AIM Network. Like, share, subscribe, and always remember, think AI, think AIM. Sam Altman just did something Silicon Valley CEOs rarely do. He publicly said that his company had a rough year and also stated that it is on him. But before we unravel more, like, share, and subscribe. Now, let's get to it. In a series of posts on X, the OpenAI CEO admitted the company did not have its best 12 months and took personal responsibility for it. This wasn't just a vague self-criticism. Altman acknowledged OpenAI missed some user and revenue targets and is projecting losses of up to $14 billion for 2026, even with roughly 800 million weekly active users. There was one bright spot. Newer models are reportedly getting about 54% more efficient at certain tasks, meaning OpenAI can do more with less compute. This matters a lot when you're burning billions. So, what is the fix? Altman says that OpenAI is refocusing hard on the end user by building things people will actually love, the way ChatGPT first captured the world's attention. He wrote that AI has to give people more freedom, agency, and wealth. Then came the line that got the AI industry talking. Altman said OpenAI wants to make the right calls without pressuring people into adopting its approach. Several outlets read that as a pointed contrast with Anthropic, whose Claude models are built around a framework called constitutional AI. It is a set of explicit principles the models are trained to follow. Critics argue it's the kind of built-in component that can make a model overly cautious, sometimes declining harmless requests that merely brush up against a sensitive-sounding topic. Supporters counter that clear, consistent principles are exactly what makes an AI system safe enough to trust at scale, especially as these tools take on more consequential tasks. Altman did not name Anthropic directly, but the subtext was hard to miss for anyone following the industry's ongoing debate, like you all are at Front Page. Now, here's the Front Page take. This is really two stories at once. One is financial. Altman is publicly owning a year of missed targets and mounting losses, a notable break from the usual founder playbook of relentless optimism. The other is philosophical. OpenAI is defining itself against Anthropic's approach, betting that trust the user will win more hearts than guardrails first. Neither side has definitively won that argument and probably won't for a while. The question here is, do you want an AI that trusts you completely, or one that pushes back sometimes for your own good? And which one would be defining the next year of the industry? Let us know what you think in the comments below. This is Front Page by AIM Network. Like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, think AI, think AIM.
AI prototypes are everywhere, but very few professionals know how to deploy AI where businesses actually operate. Introducing the Certified Forward Deployed AI Specialist by Adasi, a certification designed for the new generation of AI professionals who can bridge technology, deployment, operations, and business execution in real-world enterprise environments. Because modern AI success is no longer just building models. It's about making AI work inside production systems, customer workflows, and enterprise operations. The future belongs to engineers who can take AI from demo to deployment. This certification is ideal for AI engineers, solutions architects, technical consultants, Gen AI practitioners, developers who want to move beyond experimentation and deploy AI systems that create measurable business impact. The future of AI belongs to professionals who can take intelligence from concept to real-world execution.
There are a lot of models available on Amazon. You can use any model. For this particular workshop, I'll go with Llama 3. It's the simplest, easiest, and in terms of cost, no problem. But yes, if you are an organization, you want to go and work, you can use Anthropic's Claude model. You can use any of these models. So this is the 2ML file. And what you need, all of you, is you can see there is a Docker file also created. There is a Pi project created. There is requirement, and this is the environment. So this is the app where you have a Pi cache. So this is your cache. Init.py will not have anything, that is for initialization. This is your actual agent script. And then here you have got a README, which you can use automatically running in Docker, and these things come automatically. You can click on data store. You can click on the tool name. So this is tool 1. It's a data store. You can give the description. Now I'm going with the lowest score in terms of rounding. So we have low confidence that the response is rounded.
AI prototypes are everywhere, but very few professionals know how to deploy AI where businesses actually operate. Introducing the Certified Forward Deployed AI Specialist by Adasi, a certification designed for the new generation of AI professionals who can bridge technology, deployment, operations, and business execution in real-world enterprise environments. Because modern AI success is no longer just building models. It's about making AI work inside production systems, customer workflows, and enterprise operations. The future belongs to engineers who can take AI from demo to deployment. This certification is ideal for AI engineers, solutions architects, technical consultants, Gen AI practitioners, developers who want to move beyond experimentation and deploy AI systems that create measurable business impact. The future of AI belongs to professionals who can take intelligence from concept to real-world execution.
There are a lot of models available on Amazon. You can use any model. For this particular workshop, I'll go with Llama 3. It's the simplest, easiest, and in terms of cost, no problem. But yes, if you are an organization, you want to go and work, you can use Anthropic's Claude model. You can use any of these models. So this is the 2ml file. And what you need, all of you, is you can see there is a Docker file also created. There is a Py project created. There is requirement, and this is the environment. So this is the app where you have a Py cache. So this is your cache. Init.py will not have anything, that is for initialization. This is your actual agent script. And then here you have got a README, which you can use automatically running in Docker, and these things come automatically. You can click on data store. You can click on the tool name. So this is tool 1. It's a data store. You can give the description. Now I'm going with the lowest score in terms of grounding. So we have low confidence that the response is grounded.
Over the last few years, the future of work conversation has been dominated by AI, remote work, Gen Zs, and a global talent. But what makes this moment extremely difficult is that all the 4 shifts are happening simultaneously. For the first time in history, companies can hire talent from almost anywhere in the world, employees can work from almost anywhere in the world, and increasingly, some of their teammates may not even be human. So, traditional ideas around hiring, leadership, performance management, and organizational design are being challenged all simultaneously. The resume is losing relevance, AI is challenging how talent is discovered and evaluated, and companies are learning that access to talent may become a bigger competitive advantage than access to capital. Few people sit closer to this change than today's guest. While many online know him as the cool CEO, after the workplace video unexpectedly introduced him to a million user base and viewership on social media, behind that viral moment is a founder building a global talent business that stands at the intersection of hiring, AI, distributed teams, and GCC expansion. Joining us today is Naresh Harwani, founder and CEO of RemoteStar. Naresh, welcome to Front Page.
Thank you, Sanjana. It's my pleasure.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. So I think before we delve into the hiring and the work that you guys do, I think I want to understand the moment that made you viral. How did that feel? What did that change? And how did that impact your business?
Yeah, I mean, look, I was like any other startup founder, minding my own business, building my own startup. Building startups and businesses are not that easy. So yeah, daily grind and all those things. And my team, and I'm not a social media kind of person, so my team kept pushing me, Naresh, we need some founder-led content out there. And so I did hire like couple of social media marketing team members recently.
Were they Gen Z?
And they were Gen Zs, and they were pushing me that let's put reels on Instagram, and I'm hardly an Instagram user.
Yeah.
So, and I think they got they just got fed up, and one day they decided, okay, this guy is not going to make any reel. Let's do a prank on him. Or so they came into this meeting, and you have seen the reel, like the face mask girl. Vartika, she put a face mask on, and I was like, okay, what should I do with this now?
Yeah, I mean, immediately considering you did not know, that must have been really shocking.
Yeah, I mean, it was mix of feeling like, okay, I wanted to focus on the business and I wanted to get the daily status update, but the culture which we have in our startup is anyways, it's a fun culture, because one thing which I also learned that, okay, startups are anyways stressful. I don't want to make the journey stressful for myself and everyone. I want to enjoy this journey of building something really great. So that's the kind of culture which we have, and that's why I think she was able to come on a video call. And she was a new joinee, like she joined 2 months ago, and she decided to prank me. And after the meeting, they told me, I said, okay, fine. I mean, and then they showed me the reel, edited version of the reel. I was okay with it. I said, okay, fine, post it on social media, do whatever you guys think, because I'm not an expert in this area. And the next morning I woke up with 1 million views. And I was like, okay, now I understand what this whole thing is about and what personal branding is. So since then, business, there has been a positive impact personally for me. There has been some positive impact on the business as well, like a lot of talent, especially talent. Candidates are reaching out to us. So people want to join RemoteStar because of our workplace culture. So that is another thing which I learned through this viral moment, is how important it is for a leader to showcase their work culture, especially for in today's market when hiring talent is very good, right talent is very competitive. So companies have to show something extra just on top of the salary. Salary is, for the right talent, they can demand whatever salary they want, and but these candidates are also looking for much more than, and that's the right culture, flexibility, and everything.
No, definitely. And I think considering that for you, the reel was not part of the plan per se, but I think that was the starting point. I think after that, there were so many more reels and more offices who started doing similar trends on social media. But I think you were the starter of that trend. So I think going forward a bit from there, I'd like to understand with the kind of way the market is, changing today in terms of talent. What do you see as the biggest challenge that workforces are facing right now?
You mean in terms of hiring,
in terms of hiring, as well as the workforce that's hoping to get hired?
Yeah, I think even before AI, it was quite challenging, to be honest, to hire the right talent. So companies are afraid that they don't want to invest thousands of dollars they are afraid that they might hire the wrong candidate, because just by looking at the CV and few hours of interview, it's very difficult to judge a candidate. Right. And similarly, candidates, there are good candidates who want to work for these companies, but in between there's so much of noise was already there. So just by looking at a piece of paper, you can't really know what this person is going to really bring in. And now AI has amplified this whole thing, because now with just a click of a button, a candidate can do a mass application with CVs which are tailored for those particular job descriptions.
Yes.
So it's quite difficult now it has even created that noise even further. So it's very difficult for candidates to reach out to the right companies and companies to reach out to the right talent. And now overall workforce, now if you mix into this, like 50% of the workforce is already working from home, 50% of the workforce is working from office. So it's quite difficult now to candidates are looking for more flexibility, especially after the pandemic. So they understand that work can be done productively in a remote environment. So why my employer is pushing me into daily commute of 2 hours in morning, 2 hours in evening? Why do I need to go through that stress? I mean, there are stories which I have heard that an employee has to go to office just because of HR policies, but that employee doesn't work with anyone in that office. He works with someone in other part of the country or other part of the world, and but still because of HR policies, he has to
Yeah.
make that commute.
And I think that's very common, and it's across industries. It's not even restricted to a few industries. Somehow, even like sectors there that may not require people to come to office have restricted policies, and people have to come and sit and spend 9 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a day.
Exactly. And then on top of it, AI is coming in as a new employee for companies, and these AI agents are taking away 80% of the monotonous work which a human can do. I believe that okay, this will give more opportunities to human to be more creative, and the monotonous work can be done by the AI. So in a way, it might also help us. And then you have Gen Zs who are expecting a completely different way of management. They don't tolerate any so they want the purpose, and they want to understand why they are coming to office, what impact they are making. They just don't want to sit there, work 8 hours, 9 hours, and go back to home. So they need more purpose. They are open to ask questions. So they are very well self-aware. Unlike my generation, millennials, where okay, we were not used to ask so many questions.
Yeah.
We didn't grow up with social media and the exposure which Gen Zs have these days about work-life balance and everything around them, and so that also is bringing a lot of challenge for companies.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think in terms of Gen Zs, I'd also like to understand from you, what do you think they're expecting out of employee policies? Like, what kind of difference do you see, considering you also employ a lot of Gen Zs? I'm also coming from a space where I was recently having a discussion with a room full of people where half were completely against Gen Zs and half were like Gen Zs.
Yeah.
So it was an intense discussion, and there were like a lot of points brought up where millennials were like, we never ask for work-life balance. Where the other side was like, you should have, because that's your right. So, what do you think Gen Zs are looking for?
I mean, if I have to summarize, and I don't know if I can use it, they absolutely want no BS policies. They want to understand why I've been asked to do certain things in a certain way, why these policies are in place, and what is the impact I'm going to make. And they want to be compensated as well. So, for example, if you just ask Gen Z to come to an office and sit for 10 hours, but if they think that they can be more productive, and as long as they can deliver the results you are expecting, they will immediately start asking questions like, why you are asking me to come to office? And another thing is the old way of stick and carrot approach doesn't work with Gen Zs anymore. So you need to give them the space, the autonomy to deliver the results, make them accountable. I don't think Gen Zs, which a lot of leaders, I hear this argument that they don't take accountability or they don't deliver, and I don't believe in all those things. My Gen Z team is very, very, very hardworking. In fact, they do extra work, but out of passion, because they feel they are accountable. They want to achieve something really big. Once you show them that purpose, and once you show them that what their work has the overall impact on the business, then they are all in it. You can't force them. You can't use the stick and carrot approach. So the leadership has to also change, and also respect the boundaries a little. You can't suddenly call someone, ask someone to sit in the office from 9 to 6 p.m. and then call them in 8 p.m. If you want them to cover extra hours or something, then you need to give more flexibility to them as well. Ask them to work from home, be more flexible. They can go to gym during the day. As long as the work is getting delivered, it has to be, give and take. And one of the main reason I also feel like in our generation, I think the economic growth in India has also played a massive role, in fact, across the globe, to be honest. So now we don't Gen Zs don't have that much of economic pressure which we used to have.
Right. No, definitely, I think.
My parents, they were like, okay, you know, you need to study hard, you need to get a job, and just do whatever to make some money.
Yeah.
But now, you know, you have world is full of opportunities, and in fact, Gen Zs are getting exposed to, you know, opportunities which were never there in my generation. Like a kid who is making a reel and making millions out of it on social
Yeah.
media. I mean,
That's unimaginable for somebody at that time.
Exactly. So it was all okay, just do engineering or
Yeah.
become a doctor and make some money.
No, definitely. I think another thing I find interesting when you also talk about the AI part of it that you were talking before, and discussing how from a like, you know, employer's perspective it becomes difficult because, you know, all the CVs coming in
Yeah.
are customized and you don't know which to pick. From an employee's perspective, considering a lot of companies are employing AI-based hiring techniques,
Yeah.
do you think the other way around, how does that impact the workforce?
Yeah. So again, see, so what this has created is a race between two AI bots. Candidates are using AI bots to do mass applications
Right.
with tailored CVs. Companies are trying to defend themselves with again an AI solution bot which can actually filter out, and
Yeah.
and I feel that this is quite broken because so yes, there is a race, but it's a very noisy environment. So a good candidate can make hundreds of applications and may not get any interview call. So, and we need to do something in this space, which is what my startup is doing. So we need to move away from just a piece of paper or resume to actually a real audition-based filtering mechanism where a candidate can go and give an interview. Of course, you can't deploy humans to do mass level interviews like that. It will be very time consuming, very slow process. So again, we can leverage AI, but not to just look at the resume, but go beyond resume, and actually AI can go and talk to the candidate, really understand what their skills are, and really test them what results they have delivered or what impact they have delivered, not in theory what they are saying.
Right.
So if an AI can do that, and similarly, that will save a lot of time for employers. And similarly, one more solution which we have is for candidates, where candidates can actually give an interview to an AI and share that pre-vetted link with prospective recruiters or hiring managers. So again, you know, that can help them to get the jobs interviews much more faster.
Definitely. I think that's very, very interesting point that you bring forward. I think even when we look at, you know, such kind of interviews, I'd like to understand, you mentioned resumes and how, you know, we can go forward from just, you know, customized resumes to actually talking one-on-one with.
Yeah.
Do you think the concept of resumes going forward might become obsolete or like transform in a certain way for candidates?
Maybe it might do that. Maybe every candidate and an employer might have their AI representative.
Yeah.
So who can talk to each other, find out genuinely that are we fit for each other or not, and then put both the humans in contact.
Do you think that's efficient as a model?
The way things are going looks like that is the future, because otherwise it is going to be too time consuming for both the candidates and the employers to find that match. So you need AI to do that matchmaking.
Is that you feel the current, let's say, gap in terms of hiring right now? You know, so many governments, organizations, companies are putting money into hiring and different types of drives, etc. Like, it's not that hiring or as a concept has, you know, slowed down, and there's so much money going into that, but still we hear people complaining about hiring.
Yeah.
So do you think that is something that would fill the gap that we're looking at?
That will, but again, with every AI, so hiring is something which, again, you can't leave it entirely on machines. So
Definitely.
there has to be some human involvement. And because there are other aspects of the hiring which you look in a candidate, from a cultural fit point of view, having those kind of empathy and check those soft skills in the candidate as well. For that, you need that human in the loop. And one thing which I'm very clear is, we should never give the AI the final decision of who to hire or who to fire.
Yeah.
That should always be kept with a human. So what we believe in, that AI can help us when we have mass applications, where for one role there are, let's say, 100 or thousands of applicants. Now there's no way a human recruiter can sit down and, because now every CV looks perfect on paper, 10 out of 10. So there's no way they can quickly filter out those CVs. So AI can help us to filter out those 80% of the candidates by having those initial conversations. But then a senior recruiter or a expert, like in tech hiring, what we do at RemoteStar is we have a CTO-led tech hiring approach, where a CTO level person will make the final decision on the hiring. So you need an expert who is overlooking the AI and making that final decision. So it's a combination of human. So humans will never get replaced. In fact, I think the role of human is even more important now because of this extra noise which has been created.
No, I think another question that comes up for me from this is, as you talk about how AI will do, the initial, let's say, cleanup out of these CVs, and then comes to the candidates that, let's say, the CTO level person will help pick out. At RemoteStar, how do you make sure that AI is completely rid of biases, etc., while doing this first round in terms of data it's looking at, and like how do you make sure that at the end of the day a candidate doesn't come back to you saying I was unjustly removed from this process?
So that's very important. And so there are, when you're building these kind of AI products, it's very important that you are aware of the regulations as well. You can't have these biases or biases around gender or ethnicity, or even to some extent like the companies. So which companies this candidate is coming from, or which college he has done. The focus should be more on, is this candidate the right fit for the work? Of course, the company context is important. Like, let's say we can't get a candidate who has always worked in an enterprise environment and try to fit that candidate in a startup environment. It may not work. So that context is important, but we have to make sure that the AI model is trained enough to avoid these biases and not start making those decisions at a scale, because then there will be even more challenge. So, and also you need to take care of regulations as well.
Definitely. So from like a candidate's perspective, a lot of times, like before the entire AI hiring age, a candidate would apply for a job and then they would say, okay, you have these shortcomings. Let's say do a course or do this, do that, and then come back and apply again and we look at your CV. So now that all of this is getting segregated by AI, what kind of skills do you think that these candidates should possess? How do they understand how to upskill themselves when they get rejected from an application?
Again, this is exactly one of the features which we have built in our product. So when an AI looks at the CV initially and then talks to the candidate, it then recommends the candidate, okay, these are the gaps, these are the skill gaps you have. Why? And it may even suggest the courses to the candidate that you can go and take up these courses and all. So again, AI can help with those things as well.
Okay, that's I think that's something like the feedback loop is something that the candidates really look forward to.
And this is another major problem in hiring has been, there's not enough time for recruiters to go and give feedback to the candidates. And also there's also a human element, like, as a human, we don't want to pass on the bad news that, okay, we are not taking your application forward. Then some candidates might start asking why, explain me, and no one has time to go into that level of detail. But when an AI is doing an assessment, AI can be very, very transparent. Now, okay, if a human, if he's really frustrated and wants to scream on AI, then they can do it.
Yeah.
But
No, I think that's a trait that's related to Gen Zs nowadays. You see these videos every time, and somebody is like frustrated and they're like typing on it and then saying, "Make it professional."
oh yeah, social media is full of that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think another pattern I'd like to understand in the hiring industry is also when we look at the nature of jobs going forward and how it's changing. A lot of people look at junior level or starter level jobs and say, okay, this will get evolved into such so and so job because of AI, probably. Then you look at senior level jobs and AI is impacting that somewhere, and the senior level folk have to understand how to evolve themselves or how to integrate AI into the larger workforce and spaces, etc. In the middle of all this, the middle management somewhere ends up being confused and they don't know what to do. So how do you see like the entire pattern change for middle managers, and how does that kind of evolve?
Yeah. So what's happening is now AI is like a basic skill for everyone. It's like, do you know how to use computer or calculator? So AI is becoming like that, and middle managers have to evolve very quickly. That whatever they have learned over last 15-20 years, because new generation they have learned the AI, or they are coming up with they have been raising with in last 2-3 years with AI tools and everything, so they understand how to use AI and they're learning it very fast, and they are at that age as well that learning is not a barrier for them. They are very quick learners.
Right.
But the problem is happening with people, middle managers or people with 10 to 20 years of experience, where they have mastered certain art, doing things in a certain way. Now suddenly the whole game has changed in front of them. Now AI is able to do much better work in seconds, which they used to do in a week.
Yeah.
So now they have to quickly evolve. But because of the way they have been working, they have a very set pattern of working. And they are finding it very difficult that how do we learn new things so quickly, and with all the responsibilities as well to deliver the projects on time, learn new skills very quickly.
Yeah.
Because as you can imagine, a middle manager who is managing multiple projects and deliveries pressures are there, it's quite difficult for them.
No, definitely. And considering the kind of evolution they also come from, picking up on this AI thing is very difficult and challenging initially, probably.
Yeah.
I think, definitely that's something to kind of also understand. I think from there, I'd like to shift on to the entire GCC aspect of it and try to understand at RemoteStar, how do you delve into the GCC ecosystem in India? What kind of companies you work with? What kind of how do you look at the entire remote work and navigate that challenge with these GCCs?
Yeah. So GCCs, as we all know, that India has the biggest market share of GCCs. I think globally, India commands 53% of GCCs, and so that shift has been happening where initially the companies were coming to India for outsourcing and giving really some support roles or
in a sense.
work, salary arbitrage and taking advantage of the cost, and mostly support work used to come here in India. But now what's happening is the whole product development, portfolio development work, the whole R&D work is shifting to India.
Yeah.
And the companies, they want to protect their own IP and want to have much better control on their own talent. And that's why this GCC model is becoming very, very popular now. And so because India, the talent which is available in India is massively high compared to any other country.
Right.
So we have a lot of AI talent, a lot of tech talent in India, and every company wants to take the advantage of it. Cost arbitrage is still there. But more than cost, now companies are coming for the talent, which they can't find in their own countries. So, but at the same time, so it's also creating a challenge for them to attract the right talent.
Yeah.
again, it comes to the right mechanism, like do they use AI? Do they partner with someone who can help them hire fast? So, and it's not just because these are not a project which they are outsourcing. These are going to be their long-term employees.
Yes.
So it's very important that the hiring strategy they put in place is the right strategy for them. They are not looking for short-term solutions here.
Right.
So there's quite a different kind of hiring strategies which are needed in this one, and that's where the shift is coming. I think we are seeing I'm seeing like this huge demand of the right talent has massive opportunity at the moment in India.
I think with GCCs, definitely I've read a lot of reports where they talk about hiring. GCC's hiring basically has been actively increasing month on month, year on year in India. And despite the fact that overall tech hirings in the country have been falling, GCC hirings have always been up. And this is like across sectors. So how and why do you think GCCs are able to stick in that hiring curve? And what challenges do you think they usually face as entities that are coming off with the headquarters somewhere else, setting up in India? What are the initial challenges that these GCCs go through that maybe companies like yours can help solve?
Sure. So yeah, that shift is happening because unlike traditionally, as I was telling you, that they were mostly relying on the outsourcing partners initially earlier. So now they are trying to set up their own centers, global capability centers in India. So that's where the shift is happening. Yes, the tech hiring overall is slowing down, but for me, it's shifting basically. Of course, there is. We are in this period where a lot of companies are laying off, and because AI is also taking away
and
some
the
jobs.
IT sector has been a bit on the whim.
Yeah, so there is some shift happening. I don't know what's going to happen in future, but my hope is that it will create new opportunities and new type of skills will be needed.
Right.
So people will be redeployed. But now coming to how we can help or how we are helping GCCs. So we are working with a few GCCs in India and helping them hire. And quite a few things you need to be careful when you are hiring in India, which is not similar to when you are hiring in UK and US. The biggest challenge is there's a talent war going on.
Right.
Volume is huge. If you post a job in UK or US, yes, you will get a handful of good candidates. In India, you will get massive application. You post a job, you will get 100, 200, 500 applicants. So here the challenge is volume.
Right.
Not the lack of talent, but how to find those top 5% talent from thousands of applicants. That's the one challenge they're facing. And then there is another challenge, which is offer shopping. So good candidates have multiple offers.
Right. Okay.
So a lot of candidates, and companies are competing with each other to attract those candidates. And yes, to certain extent, I don't think that this is candidates' fault either. To certain extent, they will be ethical and they will, once they have signed the offer, they will stick to that offer. But if someone else is coming and offering them 20% more, and equally good company, same culture, everything is good, they might say, you know what, I can't just lose this opportunity. It's a human nature. So let's be honest with each other. So again, these companies have to understand that this hiring in India, so they need to create their own backup and pool, keep the active candidates pipeline until someone joins, and even after joining, that person has settled down for 2-3 months. So you can't just stop the hiring immediately, which happens in UK, US, and those countries, but it won't work here. Otherwise, you will massively lose on the time.
Right, definitely. I think this also brings me, as you mentioned, how there is this competition going on within GCCs and companies for hiring. Do you think that brings in like a good shift or like, just a transformation in the world. Earlier there used to be a competition for customers and for different kind of aspects. Do you think now it's turning into talent wars in a sense?
Talent war has always been there in India. Companies, but as a country, we have been producing more and more talent as well at massive numbers. I think the biggest shift we should see is now the candidates. It's a very good opportunity for Indian candidates, because now they are not going to work on some support tasks or some back-end office tasks or something like that. They are going to actually do real R&D work.
Right.
And once they have those skills, like 5 to 10 years, overall, it will benefit the country. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
A lot of people will be trained on really good stuff. They will work on really high-tech stuff and AI and all those things. So I think as a country, we'll benefit from it a lot, from these GCCs.
I think another thing around leadership as a larger thing, when we look at how AI is changing the scale for leaders, how do you think they need to adapt? Because as you talked about the middle management, they need to like upskill and understand how to use these tools better, because obviously the junior level is upskilling themselves. As for leaders who've been let's say leading as an MD or a CEO who's been part of this one company for so long, I mean you as well, how do you think that leaders should ride this AI wave?
I would say for leaders, and this change I have already started seeing across the industries and the clients which we work with as well. I think leaders are very clear that everyone recognizes now the power of AI. There was a period where people were arguing about, oh no, not everything can be done by AI and this and that.
Yeah.
Now everyone understands that AI is the way to go. Now they should leverage the AI and use it as their superpower to innovate and create things faster for their end users.
Yeah.
So whether it is a biotech or SaaS application, you can do innovation at very, very fast pace now with AI.
Right.
And if there is a resistance, and there will be a certain percentage of employees who might resist, and they might say, oh no, AI cannot do everything and we need to still do things manually.
Yeah.
I don't think that is the way to go. The sooner everyone understands this, it's like, asking someone that, okay, I will not use calculator to do maths problem. Right. I will still do everything with hand. It's not, you have already lost the argument, and you will be much behind your competition if you don't leverage the AI. And the important thing is you need to quickly reskill your teams, your employees, to start using AI as much as possible, so that those employees can now work on more creative skills. Right. So I don't think the employees should be threatened by AI. They should be threatened by other humans who know how to use AI better than them.
Yeah. So if they're not taking part into it, they're losing out.
They are losing out, yeah.
Right. And so the leader's job should be to make sure that everybody is kind of getting into it, learning how to adapt.
Yeah, they should bring the right data from the industry, give that context to their workforce, that why, and it should be backed by the right data.
Right.
That look, so and so research and so company has achieved this, or they should bring the right case studies, empower their employees with the right tools,
right,
and right processes. And a lot of this restructuring, they have to do a lot of restructuring as well in the organization to make sure that it's completely the old way of working has to change because of AI. And very soon we will have AI agents. AI is making more and more decisions. So we have to see what policies or HR policies are there for AI employees as well.
Yeah.
So there will be a lot of shift which we will see. But ultimately, I feel like one thing which should not happen is the control should always stay with humans.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think as you mentioned that line between the humans and AI is going to blur. So going forward, there's going to be all sorts of patterns. There will be humans reporting to humans, humans reporting to AI, AI reporting to humans, AI reporting to AI. So what do you feel like going forward? Let's say the year 2030, 35, 40. As we go more and more, what do the companies of that age look like?
I think the companies will be much more leaner and much more productive as well because of AI, and the way humans operate will change because now humans will be, if you have to deliver any complex task, that complex task which used to be complex could be delivered in few seconds now with the help of AI. So we would see humans who are very creative, very innovative, and they know how to leverage the power of AI and deliver something really, really fast, accurate, with quality. And the humans who are not afraid of ambiguities or changing landscape. The way AI is evolving, this will continue for quite a few years. The pace of innovation in AI in every sector will be tremendous, and you will realize that the humans who are able to make it through that will have those abilities that they are very adaptable to these changes. So you will be working with very creative people, with AI taking care of a lot of day-to-day work and complex work with human judgment on the top.
Right.
So the companies will be super innovative. Another thing which I can see is with larger teams, there's a lot of inherited tax which companies have to pay in terms of communication gaps between humans and all those things. So companies can also optimize a lot of these things using AI. So that the decisions which companies are taking are much more well informed. Why we are making this decision as a team.
Right.
With leveraging the AI, you can actually be much more productive and remove all the slack and be a very high productive team, basically.
No, definitely. I think those are some good use cases of AI also, in which we can cut down the negative parts of communication, make sure that everything is running smoothly. Definitely. I think I'd also like to come back to the Gen Z part for one more time, and like to ask you, considering you have such a big Gen Z team, that generation as a whole is accused of being like impatient or somebody that's uncomfortable to work with, not difficult to work with. Maybe if you'd like to express a few instances that you've come across working with Gen Zs, where you felt that, okay, this was the right decision, and that you found that, okay, as this generation, this is something that stands out with them.
Yeah. So the way I look at Gen Zs is they are not, they're very, I would say, very smart. They are not camera shy. They are, with the right mindset, they can be very innovative as well. And we have seen various examples of these, like a 20-year-old kid running billion-dollar company.
Right.
So, and yes, I have 20 years of experience, but the way I treat them is almost with equal respect, or in fact, in most cases, I feel like this person is probably much more smarter than me. They have grown up with the technology in their hand.
Yeah.
So they do something amazing for my business as well.
Right.
And so one of the example is that reel, which went viral out of nowhere. I mean, think about, do I have a formula for this? Like, if I hire a marketing team of 5 people, in 6 months, they will be able to make a viral reel for me. There's no such formula.
Yeah.
So the way I treat my team is, okay, I give them the full respect. Of course, look, they don't have the industry experience which we can bring in, and maybe guide them as much as we can. But they're full of enthusiasm. I would say, trust them and ask them to deliver on the results. If you make them understand, like, what a good result looks like and give them the full autonomy to deliver it, I think they will do it much better than millennials. That's how I feel. And I don't see much issue with hard work, or I think they are hardworking, they are smart. With technology, they can do amazing work.
Yeah. I think maybe I'd like to come to the last question for today, and I'd like to understand as you work into the entire remote system and you propagate for remote offices. So considering, as we discussed earlier, that a lot of companies are still very traditional in that sense, and they don't want to push for remote working. They feel that they don't have the control over their employees if the employees are working remote. So how do you convince these companies, or like, what do you tell them to, for them to join onto the remote waves?
Yeah, again, this, we have to go back to what kind of workplace culture you want to operate in. Do you want to operate it in the old fashion, where if you want to get work out of someone, you have to always use stick and carrot approach. As a manager, you will be always stressed. Oh, I have a team of 10 people. Why this person hasn't delivered this? Why this hasn't happened? Or do you want to be a leader who has given the context, given the accountability to the team, and trust them to deliver it and focus on results? And if the focus is on results, does it matter if you can see them working 8-10 hours in office, or they can work from anywhere, as long as they are delivering the result? Do I care? And for me, if an employee is working for, one employee is working for 8 hours a day, another employee is only working for 3 hours a day, but that person who is working for 3 hours a day has got me, let's say, some result, let's say 10x revenue for my company. That will be much more productive employee for me. As a business, what I focus on is my business getting the results from this employee, which I want? If those results are getting delivered, do I care whether this person is working 3 hours or 8 hours? Why do we need to measure the time or number of hours someone is spending in office or at work? I think the way we used to measure productivity is coming from the industrial era, where people on the factory floor, the more hours you spend on the factory floor, the more output you will get. But in a cognitive era, where people can make decisions, can produce amazing results by just 2 or 3 hours of focused work, which they might not be even able to do if they're working 8-10 hours a day. How do you measure all these things? So it's very complex. There's no formula. This reel, for example, how much effort my team might have spent, like 2-3 hours, 4 hours, we got millions of views. There's no formula for such things. So for me, I'm more focused on, are we getting the results? So whether your employee is working remotely, whether they're working from office, the culture should be trust-based, and you need to make them accountable. Give them the full context, why this is important, give them the full autonomy, make them accountable for delivering this. And if you don't trust that employee, it doesn't matter whether they are working remotely or in office, that's not the right employee for you. So, but there are companies, look, and I understand the argument that some companies might say, some companies need people to come to office, lab work or factories or something, that I completely understand. And some companies have different policies. My issue is not remote or office based. My main issue why I like remote work is because if I'm asking an employee to commute every morning 2 hours and in the evening 2 hours, that's just lost productivity for me. The life of that employee will be stressful. If they have to live in a metro city, cost of living is very high. So if they can work from anywhere and be much more peaceful, I think that employee will be much happier employee for me, and their productivity level will be naturally much higher. So that's more important for me. That's why I personally like remote work. I'm not against office based. In fact, there are some advantages of office based as well. But considering the commute and stress and all those things, if you have to make a trade-off decision, I would say remote is much better.
Sorry, excuse me. This just gets me to like maybe two more questions. I think as you talk about how the changes in productivity level, etc., along with the kind of shift that comes with working remote, I think it's an interesting thing when you add AI to this mix. There are employees working remote and using AI. I think that is something that furthermore drives these companies to, like, I don't know, have a loss of trust in a sense, because they also can't monitor what AI, how are they using the AI, or what are they doing in terms of if the employees are working remote. So when we look at GCCs essentially, and considering they have also like set up from another country, they have the center here, and you add AI and remote work into the mix, how do you see like roles emerging going forward?
Personally, I don't feel that is the challenge, because most of the companies have some kind of hybrid work policy. So if they are letting their employees to work remotely for 1 day or 2 days a week, then certainly they have all those IT measures in place that the system is secure, their environment is secured, and what AI tools the employees are allowed to use, whether they work remotely or from office, it should be consistent. So I don't personally see that kind of a challenge. And in fact, I have even worked with missile systems companies, and we used to work in a very, very secure environment. And when pandemic hit, even they had to work remotely. So I'm sure with the right IT systems in place, that should not be a challenge. And with the processes, it's not just systems, with processes as well. Employees have to be careful that they are not working on any sensitive information in a cafe or and they don't leave any documents, leave their laptop open or documents open. So there are processes and policies around that. So, but I think we have already evolved from that situation due to pandemic.
All right. I think, that was something that I was looking also to understand how, when you add all this mix to the bowl, how does that work out for the industry as a whole? But thank you so much for sitting with us today. I think I've had a wonderful conversation with you. And considering I am Gen Z myself, this gave me a lot of confidence. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. It was my pleasure, Sanjana. Really nice chatting with you.
Nice chatting with you as well. So everybody, here we have it. We had a wonderful chat today, and we touched upon a lot of things around Gen Zs in workplace, how to navigate the challenges, how from an employer side as well as an employee side, and also delving into the remote work aspect as to why companies should delve more for it, how does it impact productivity, as well as how does it turn around when we look at GCCs as a concept in India growing forward more and more as we proceed. So with that, we come to an end of today's episode, and let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Please share your thoughts, like, share, subscribe, and never forget, think AI, think AI.
AI prototypes are everywhere, but very few professionals know how to deploy AI where businesses actually operate. Introducing the Certified Forward Deployed AI Specialist by Adasi, a certification designed for the new generation of AI professionals who can bridge technology, deployment, operations, and business execution in real-world enterprise environments. Because modern AI success is no longer just building models. It's about making AI work inside production systems, customer workflows, and enterprise operations. The future belongs to engineers who can take AI from demo to deployment. This certification is ideal for AI engineers, solutions architects, technical consultants, Gen AI practitioners, developers who want to move beyond experimentation and deploy AI systems that create measurable business impact. The future of AI belongs to professionals who can take intelligence from concept to real-world execution.
There are a lot of models available on Amazon. You can use any model. For this particular workshop, I'll go with Llama 3. It's the simplest, easiest, and in terms of cost, no problem. But yes, if you are an organization, you want to go and work, you can use Anthropic's Claude model. You can use any of these models. So this is the 2ML file. And what you need, all of you, is you can see there is a Docker file also created. There is a Pi project created. There is requirement, and this is the environment. So just this is the app where you have a Pi cache. So this is your cache. Init.py will not have anything, that is for initialization. This is your actual agent script. And then here you have got a README, which you can use automatically running in Docker, and these things come automatically. You can click on data store. You can click on the tool name. So this is tool 1. It's a data store. You can give the description. Now I'm going with the lowest score in terms of grounding. So we have low confidence that the response is grounded.
AI prototypes are everywhere, but very few professionals know how to deploy AI where businesses actually operate. Introducing the Certified Forward Deployed AI Specialist by Adasi, a certification designed for the new generation of AI professionals who can bridge technology, deployment, operations, and business execution in real-world enterprise environments. Because modern AI success is no longer just building models. It's about making AI work inside production systems, customer workflows, and enterprise operations. The future belongs to engineers who can take AI from demo to deployment. This certification is ideal for AI engineers, solutions architects, technical consultants, Gen AI practitioners, developers who want to move beyond experimentation and deploy AI systems that create measurable business impact. The future of AI belongs to professionals who can take intelligence from concept to real-world execution.
There are a lot of models available on Amazon. You can use any model. For this particular workshop, I'll go with Llama 3. It's the simplest, easiest, and in terms of cost, no problem. But yes, if you are an organization, you want to go and work, you can use Anthropic's Claude model. You can use any of these models. So this is the 2ML file. And what you need, all of you, is you can see there is a Docker file also created. There is a Pi project created. There is requirement, and this is the environment. So just this is the app where you have a Pi cache. So this is your cache. Init.py will not have anything, that is for initialization. This is your actual agent script. And then here you have got a README, which you can use automatically running in Docker. And these things come automatically. You can click on data store. You can click on the tool name. So this is tool 1. It's a data store. You can give the description. Now I'm going with the lowest score in terms of grounding. So we have low confidence that the response is grounded.
AI prototypes are everywhere, but very few professionals know how to deploy AI where businesses actually operate. Introducing the Certified Forward Deployed AI Specialist by Adasi, a certification designed for the new generation of AI professionals who can bridge technology, deployment, operations, and business execution in real-world enterprise environments. Because modern AI success is no longer just building models. It's about making AI work inside production systems, customer workflows, and enterprise operations. The future belongs to engineers who can take AI from demo to deployment. This certification is ideal for AI engineers, solutions architects, technical consultants, Gen AI practitioners, developers who want to move beyond experimentation and deploy AI systems that create measurable business impact. The future of AI belongs to professionals who can take intelligence from concept to real-world execution.
There are a lot of models available on Amazon. You can use any model. For this particular workshop, I'll go with Llama 3. It's the simplest, easiest, and in terms of cost, no problem. But yes, if you are an organization, you want to go and work, you can use Anthropic's Claude model. You can use any of these models. So this is the 2ML file. And what you need, all of you, is you can see there is a Docker file also created. There is a Pi project created. There is requirement. And this is the environment. So this is the app where you have a Pi cache. So this is your cache. Init.py will not have anything, that is for initialization. This is your actual agent script. And then here you have got a README, which you can use automatically running in Docker. And these things come automatically. You can click on data store. You can click on the tool name. So this is tool 1. It's a data store. You can give the description. Now I'm going with the lowest score in terms of grounding. So we have low confidence that the response is grounded.
India's energy story is entering a new phase. For the last decade, the conversation was dominated by renewables, solar parks, batteries, and transmission infrastructure. But as India pushes towards becoming a $10 trillion economy, electrifies mobility, builds semiconductor fabs, AI data centers, green hydrogen plants, and advanced manufacturing facilities, a difficult question is emerging. Where will all this reliable power come from? Increasingly, the answer seems to include nuclear energy. For the first time in decades, India is opening the door to private participation in the nuclear sector, accelerating work on Bharat Small Modular Reactors and rethinking the role of engineering, manufacturing, and infrastructure in strategic sectors. At the center of many of these conversations sits Tata Consulting Engineers, one of the first companies helping design the physical backbone of India's industrial ambitions. Leading that effort is Amit Sharma, Managing Director and CEO of Tata Consulting Engineers, who recently argued that India could deploy modular Bharat Small Reactors within 2 years through private sector participation and a more pragmatic approach to modularization. Amit sir, welcome to Front Page.
Hi, good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
Good, great.
Good to know. So let me begin with something you spoke about recently. You recently argued that India doesn't need to wait a decade for Western style SMRs and that Bharat Small Reactors would become deployable within 2 years using India's existing PHWR expertise and private participation, of course. That's a remarkably aggressive timeline. What makes you feel confident that this is something we can carry out?
As you rightly said, Sanjana, I think the most important thing for a country to get to a trajectory of growth is availability of continuous, affordable, and reliable power, which is energy. And I think if you look at our history in India, we've had our foray in nuclear, which is almost now close to 70 years old, right? In fact, in 1945 was the time when we first looked at nuclear, and we had our Atomic Energy Act in 62. And since then, India has done remarkable work, although in a way focused on a lot of strategic objectives. We do have 23 running reactors producing about 8.5 gigawatts, and about 6 gigawatt of projects are under construction. Which will take the capacity which the current Department of Atomic Energy and NPCIL is working on. What is remarkable is India learned making these reactors in a step-by-step manner. From an initial experimental reactors, 100 megawatt to 200, then 540, and now we have a 700 megawatt fleet. And I think some great work has been done by Department of Atomic Energy and NPCIL for the past many years. Tata Consulting Engineers has been part of this work in close collaboration with DAE and NPCIL.
Right.
And in fact, our first chairman was Dr. Sethna, who was the chairman of AEC, and after his retirement became TC's chairman about 55 years back. So that's our legacy. And one of the thought process has been that since we worked on these reactors over the years, the 220 megawatt pressurized heavy water reactor that we have is a perfect candidate that it can be taken forward, modularized, re-engineered, and it's already certified. We have multiple 220, 540, 700, the same class of reactors working in India, as I said, 23 reactors. And so if we are able to look at this certified and proven and safe reactor, it at a price point which is suitable for India, I think we can certainly embark on the small modular reactor journey in the next 24 months.
Right. So I think I'd also like to understand that for years, nuclear energy was not a main topic of discussion, especially in India's energy transition. So why are we suddenly looking back at nuclear energy, and why is it back in conversation?
Yeah, I think it's a global phenomenon. I think if you look at multiple factors that are contributing to this, the first one is a real demand for energy, change in the whole supply chain of energy, and with AI, data centers, and a need for energy across the globe, everybody's realized that nuclear, apart from all other things, also has a big role to play. Right. And so it doesn't mean that it's only nuclear. I think we need hydro, we need wind, we need solar, we need large nuclear reactors, small and medium nuclear reactors. And of course, there is space for coal-based energy as well in as much green format as we can do. So I think energy is the topic, and globally, it is under question. In fact, the G20, which happened about 4 years back, we wrote a paper with Niti Aayog, which talked about the emergence of nuclear and the small modular reactor across the globe. And so India is part of a global realization that nuclear is a clean energy, affordable energy, and a safe energy.
Right. So when we look at India's ecosystem as a whole, reaching its manufacturing and the peak of semiconductor, AI, electrification ambitions, especially with renewables, how do we understand the baseload nuclear power becoming unavoidable?
That's a very good question. I think while solar has been a very good story of success in India, and it had policy benefits, financial benefits, and adoption, so is wind or other forms of energy, whether it's hydro, wind, or solar. These are all green energies. But one of the challenges they suffer is that they are not 24/7. And they are what is called as a following load, grid following load. But when you require energy that is in surges, ups and downs, for example, as they say in the evening, a lot of industrial loads comes in. During summertime, you have a lot of consumption, both in terms of residential and commercial. You need a base load. And that is what thermal power or coal-fired power plants were giving us. Now, to manage the grid, make it stable, nuclear is a very good source of base load, which is 24/7. And more importantly, it can take up these surge demands, especially in the way that the data centers and a decentralized power requirements will become the need of the hour across the country, not just in India, but in every other nation in the world. And I believe a distribution network that is stable, coupled with renewable sources of energy, requires as a must a strong base load to make the grid stable. That is why nuclear will definitely play a big role in combination with renewable sources of energy.
Definitely, I think that's something very interesting to look at, and that brings me to a question around Bharat Small Modular Reactors. What kind of role do you think they play in India's future energy mix, and how different are they from the SMRs being built in the US or Europe if we look at a global scale?
Okay, so this question requires a context. Very few people know that India's grid is very unique. Probably we are the only country in the world that has a large private captive power generation. The reason for that is that we, over the years, as we built our grid, it wasn't very stable to provide a lot of power to the captive requirements of the industry. So whether we had cement plants, steel plants, aluminum plants, or manufacturing plants, most of these private sector plants have their own captive power generation.
Right.
And the sum total of this is about 85 to 90 gigawatts. Now, nowhere in the world is captive power plants of this total size of 90 gigawatts. Okay. And the reason, as I said, is India is a large country. We require a lot of energy. And so most of the private sector created own captive power. And this was basically coal, diesel, and so on and so forth. So the next question, how does nuclear play? Nuclear has two interesting scenarios. One is the large nuclear reactors, which will provide electricity to the grid, as we call as the IPP. And then you have the captive power plant, CPP, which can replace the small or medium thermal coal-fired power plants or diesel gensets, which is part of the captive requirements of the industry, right? And so when we talk about small modular reactors, typical definition is less than 300 megawatt. Now the sweet spot is between 150 to 200 megawatt for a large industry like steel, cement, chemical. But a large percentage of reactors are in the 20 to 50 megawatt range as well. And this is where the term comes as medium MMRs. Rather than small, we call it micro modular reactors. So MMRs and SMRs are reactors for captive requirements, but could also provide electricity to smaller towns, villages, or requirements, for example, in our Andaman and Nicobar Islands or Lakshadweep, where we require electricity of a certain scale between 50 to 100 megawatt. And all kinds of nuclear, large, medium, small, will be required for the demand that India will need, both in terms of our technological advancements, manufacturing, but also in terms of the per capita electricity expansion that India will see naturally with our population and growth as a developed Viksit Bharat plan that is underway currently.
Right. I think I'd also like to understand when you talk about modularization in terms of our country, you've called the approach a bit more pragmatic than the Western approach. So, what exactly does India understand about modular nuclear deployment than what maybe others might be missing?
Okay, so first, if you look at the maths on these reactors, some interesting things come to play. The first thing is, for a reactor, 45% of the total investment in the capital project, I would use the word, is wasted in interest during construction and escalations of price. So if you make a reactor for 100 rupees, 45 rupees is actually part of the interest cost. And because these reactors, through various reasons, right reasons and safety reasons, take 6 to 9 years, the escalation happens in 6 to 9 years. So 45% of the money goes there. Right? Number two is the cost of a reactor, which is the core complex technology, is less than 15%. The remaining costs are primarily civil construction, balance of plant, which is turbine, generator, electricity, distribution, etc. So based on these learnings, the second point I would argue is, if you look at the price point of India, China, and Korea, because they haven't looked at multiple reactors, they are 2 to 3 times lower than the cost in US and France. Okay? So if you make something and you make multiple things of the same design, you learn and you get economies of scale, right? And so your ecosystem of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers are able to distribute the cost of investment across multiple orders, right? So if you take these two things, the difference between India as we embark upon this post-Shanti Bill nuclear renaissance is we must look at a Gen 3 plus reactor such that we pick up the proven technology of last 50 years. And second, we build in scale so that we get economy of scale. And the third is, while we must look at the generation 4 reactors, which everybody is trying to create in the world, please note that reactors and their regulatory approvals and certification takes between minimum 8 to 10 years. And while we must look at Gen 4 reactors 10 years from now, we must embrace the Gen 3 plus reactors where we have a proven 50 years experience. And in a combination of a phased approach, phase 1 being Gen 3 plus and phase 2 at Gen 4, we will be able to kickstart our ambitious post-Shanti nuclear renaissance in the next 24 months, get something going fast, and at 2035, embrace the advantages of Gen 4 reactors.
Right. I think as you also talked about scale and expansion, I'm curious to understand the semiconductor industry. In that sense, when we look at that, that is an industry which consumes enormous amounts of uninterrupted electricity and water. So do you think SMRs are likely to become like a power plant for this industry when we look at, even growing ambitions related to fabrication plants?
Yeah. So, data centers as well as semiconductors are a must for a country which has an ambition what India has really made a roadmap for. And these two industries require very calibrated and sensitive working with input, materials, operation, and a very high robust, high quality power. Right? Both in terms of frequency, availability, harmonics, and continuity. And so the base load is very important for this. And you're absolutely right, both for semiconductors and surrounding areas, but also for data centers. I think the nuclear provided power in the SMR, MMR range, apart from the large reactors, will be a critical requirement for the country as we move forward. And I believe it's the right timing as India gets into the semiconductor mission ISM-1, ISM-2, and also look at our data center and AI strategy. Right. This is the right timing for the nuclear arena to go hand in hand.
Right. When we also, earlier you mentioned the Shanti Bill. When we look at the Shanti Bill and the proposed changes and the nuclear liability frameworks, could that fundamentally reshape the sector? And, how significant is that moment for the, larger nuclear industry in India?
No, it's pivotal. It's a milestone that the country has taken an historic decision on. And I think it'll open up a great innovation, manufacturing, and an ecosystem that allows private players to collaborate with established public sector entities that have considerable experience. So there's a lot of learning between private sector and the public sector in this. And I think we need to work collaboratively. It's a sector that requires careful planning, long capital cycle, a careful financial model, insurance model, proper liability understanding, trained manpower, and a lot of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 players. So the Shanti Act, as I said, is a historic next step. And now true collaboration between private and public will enable India to go on a path of adopting nuclear for a stable energy moving forward.
Right. So largely the sector has always also been government-led. When we look at private capital and private engineering capabilities, how does that change the equation? Just from like a collaboration perspective, also what were the drawbacks in the government-led sector, and what is being added with the private coming in?
Well, couple of things. Nuclear in India was under the government control because the purpose of that was more related to our national strategic objectives, not to produce power. That was a secondary objective, right? Now, the primary objective is electricity generation. And if you want to scale that, as I said, a collaboration between private and public is important. Private has not only funds, but also a desire to make their products greener, faster, more innovative. And the public sector has a lot of experience. So if you combine these two together, it'll help India really go fast.
Also, I'd like to understand, previously we talked about other sources of renewable energy, and you talked about how that compares to nuclear energy. Do you see a future where large industrial operators could potentially operate nuclear the same way they would operate captive thermal or renewable plants today?
So there are two parts of this usage, as I said. There will be people who will generate electricity for the grid, which will be the large reactors, right? And that itself would mean 1,000 megawatt to upward of 1,000 megawatt large reactors. This is power generation players. The second category of players are captive players. And that's where you will see reactors from, say, 20 megawatt to 200 to 300 megawatt. And yes, nuclear is safe. The Gen 3 Plus and the modularity that we are introducing world over allows people to use that in a safe manner. And I do foresee that we will see a combination of land-based, floating barrage-based in the sea, as well as micro reactors for electricity, but also for process requirements. See, the small modular and the MMR and SMR is not just for electricity. Most of the industry uses this for steam and process heat. And there, the efficiency of conversion is much better. Traditionally, if you produce electricity, you have a conversion of about 35-36%. But if you use process heat and steam, your conversion efficiency would be 70 to 80%. And that's why small reactors would have multiple purposes: hydrogen generation, process heat, steam, and also electricity. So you'll have hybrid outcomes. And definitely, they can be used by the private sector with the right trained workforce and a strategy that focuses on both capital phase and operation phase.
Right. Also, when we look at India as a country, we've largely been a place which excels in engineering services. So, looking at sectors like semiconductors, nuclear, aerospace, or advanced manufacturing, in that sense, can that help India sort of move towards an engineering ownership or IP creation better as compared to when we look at a global scenario?
No, you're absolutely right. One of the story on Vikasit Bharat has to be our own blueprint of what we want to use. And I call that design and engineering sovereignty. In the current AI, the use of LLMs, also I feel that India should look at its own model. So just like we are having this debate about AI sovereignty, where we have our own Indian models, whether it's language, whether it is our own innovations and our price point. Similarly, in design engineering, we must look at the requirements of India and its unique footprint, right? While we must collaborate and figure out what is the best available, we must also invent and create the requirement for our climate conditions, for our intensity, for our population, and for the diversity across the weather patterns we have in India. And hence, as we move forward to really investing efforts in aerospace, the whole Atmanirbhar Bharat in semiconductors, advanced manufacturing, as well as chemicals value chain, I think design engineering is an integral part, just like manufacturing and operation is an integral part of the success. And my last point on this topic is one needs to understand what is a CapEx mindset and an OpEx mindset. And both have to coexist. Just like you need very good operational talent, we also need very good capital projects talent. Now, there have been some very interesting projects that we are working on: semiconductors, battery plants, base, ingot and wafer, silicon production, similarly high-speed rail, and its required ecosystem of high-speed, coaches. So I think this all proves that if there is a clear strategy, intent, India will certainly meet that challenge. And the youth of India is an asset. And the tenacity and perseverance of our youth to deliver projects is proven, whether it has been with ISRO or the private sector or with NPCIL and DAE. I think we have produced some excellent benchmarks. And I feel that as these new sectors emerge, we will continue to use the talent in the country with a clear roadmap and strategy to achieve our objectives.
Right. I think This also brings me to an important conversation, which definitely is something that everybody's delving into now, which is AI. So, considering TC is also spoken excessively about digital engineering, digital twins, and AI-driven infrastructure delivery. How is AI changing the way large infrastructure projects are designed and executed, and how does that take us away from traditional ways of just infrastructure?
So, since we've been in this industry for almost 65 years, our talents internally in the last 2-3 decades worked on a lot of computer-aided design and expert systems. But it was done in the technology of that time. But there was a lot of IP and knowledge. And what we realized is with faster computing methods and hardware, which is more affordable, we could leverage that knowledge. So about 4 years back, we started experimenting and collaborating with players. So AI is a calculator. Right? Just like you can use a calculator for faster calculation, imagine an exponential calculator. Only if you know your subject can AI be a friend. And so if you look at both in terms of knowledge and IP monetization, agility, modularity, and standardization, and applying physics and non-physics models to create predictable engineering outputs, I think AI is an accelerator in that respect. And all of us, in whichever industry we are in, must be very honest to the fact that AI will fundamentally rewrite the rules of both the capital, the operational, as well as knowledge-based jobs and the hard to do civil engineering and manufacturing jobs. AI will be all pervasive, right? And so we need to figure out what scenarios we need to embrace. So for us, we're looking at AI-enabled engineering, AI-enabled project management and scenario planning, and also AI-enabled value engineering. And it is a phased approach. It is going in step-by-step manner. We do see early success in areas that are low-hanging fruits. But I believe as the landscape is maturing, as the technology is maturing, we will see exponential outcomes. And our thesis is that AI is a collaboration of humans and technology to enable accelerated, predictable outcomes. And if used in the right mechanism with careful planning and strategy, it can be an exponential accelerator.
Definitely. I think thank you so much for giving those particular inputs on the involvement of AI when it comes to that, because that's definitely something very important to talk about now as industries are also evolving. I think I'd also like to understand from your perspective, what do you think are the biggest infrastructure bottlenecks for India when it comes to being an ambitious manufacturing superpower?
Yeah, I think while the ease of doing business and the regulations around various project clearances is seeing a positive shift, there are states that are very proactive in attracting investments. I think one of the mindset change that India would have to do is to truly look at proper focus on how capital projects are done. We've done some great projects in India, but we do have problems related to planning, better appreciation of procurement processes, due focus on the early concept and design alternatives. Because the initial decisions are the most important. Changes later in the life cycle of the project are much more expensive. And so one of the mindset change we require is better planning and an honest planning of the timelines. If a project takes 25 months, it takes 25 months. Don't try and do that in 15 months, right? And while the pressure must be there to do the project in time, one needs to be honest about that planning. Second, spend a lot of time in early discussion, debates, options, alternatives. Look at the pros and cons, and then decide a strategy. Look for all localization of items that can be procured in India. Work with your suppliers to develop them along with your own strategies of the project, and collaborate with the best in the world. And this requires a very thorough capital project strategy. And why I say that, it's like we need doctors, and they must do the best with the patient. When doctors need a hospital, the hospital should be built by civil engineers, right? So that's called the capital mindset. So while we need a great doctor, we need a great civil engineer. Similarly, we need great operators of semiconductors, we need great operators of battery plants, nuclear plants, but we need great engineers, civil engineers, geotechnical engineers to do capital project. If we mix this together, we would have wrong examples. So we need a delicate balance between capital mindset and an operation mindset. And both have to respect both sides of the value chain. And so these are some of the things India is learning. We are working with our customers, with our collaborators and partners, and all of us together are learning. And I believe there is respect in the ecosystem to balance it carefully between CapEx and OpEx and make sure the investments produce the desired outcomes.
All right, thank you so much, Amit. I think this was a wonderful conversation, and it gave so much input around all sorts of things, nuances that we need to look at when we think about nuclear. So thank you so much for sitting down with us today and give your insights. This was a truly pleasurable conversation.
Thank you very much for the invite, Sanjana. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we had a wonderful conversation with Amit, learning around different nuances of nuclear energy. How does it